Hi, Dennis Gallagher here to read for you day 10 of our Advent devotional. It begins with this verse out of the book of John. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us, and we saw his glory. Glory is the only begotten from the Father, full of grace and truth. For of his fullness we have all received, and grace upon grace. The words that the Holy Spirit gave to John in this writing were incredible. In fact, here's what the devotional reads for today. It says, the greatest writers in history cannot match the Holy Spirit's simple description of when heaven came to earth. After all, how could human words catch and hold eternity incarnate? John says that the Word that created us became the one who dwelt with us. Indescribable glory was hidden within the manger when grace was punctuated with truth. Heaven's glorious Son came to give and not to get. I'm captured, though, by this one phrase. John reaches into his memories of his master, and he describes what it was like to follow his footsteps. And all he can say is it was grace upon grace. Jesus began his journey here on earth in the kind of place where many often live, not the quaint little manger that sits next to the Christmas tree, but a stinking stable dug from the hillside far enough away so that no one heard or cared when the shock of childbirth erupted the innocent world of his teenage mother. But he left the manger to deliver heaven's greatest promise of grace upon grace. Can you trust that grace is for you also? Grace upon grace that rolls into the barrenness of our soul like mighty breakers of the sea. Grace upon grace that has continued since the silent night was punctuated by the cry of the one who was and is God with us. Grace upon grace that rallies the angels to serve, supplies our every need, captures every tear, prepares a place for us, suffers with us, comforts abundantly, and continues on till his kingdom comes. His grace meets the need. It is not me, it's not you, it's not the book read or the sermon preached. His grace was delivered into the arms of Mary as she gave birth to the one who dwelt among us. It is sufficient because it is his fullness. It is his fullness because it is grace upon grace. And that grace once given is abundant and it never runs dry. From the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, verse 16. For ours is no high priest who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses. He himself has shared fully in all our experiences of temptation, except that he has never sinned. Let us therefore approach the throne of grace with fullest confidence, that we may receive mercy for our failures and grace to help in the hour of our need. Grace upon grace, upon grace upon grace. I don't know about you, but that's something I'm going to be thinking about all day. I need his grace. I know you do too. Isn't it good that it's more than abundant? It's more than sufficient. It's Jesus' grace upon grace.